Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running Tales of the Valiant, the Kobold Press 5e, home-style 5e game in the world of Midgard, in the section of Midgard known as the Dragon Empire. The name of this campaign is the Dragon Empire. Scourge of the Dragon Empire? I think we're calling it Scourge of the Dragon Empire. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of awesome tips, tricks, tools, source books, scenarios, adventures, and other things to help them run their 5e games. They get to join the awesome Lazy DM community over on Discord, and they help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. Our game last week ended in the middle of a dungeon known as the Pit of Unending Thirst. They got about 4 or 5 rooms in before we called it for the day. So this is one of those nice things where prepping for today's game should not be so bad because they are in a place. I know they're in that place. I know they have to complete that place. There's not a lot of choices about where they're going to go. A lot of choices about where they could go inside that place, but it's bounded by that location. So that works out really well. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to jump over to my Obsidian window and we're going to look at my notes from last week. So this was last week's game. We had 4 players. Being the holidays, it's always a challenge to get everybody together. I think today we're going to have 6. So today I'm actually introducing a new on-call player. So we have 6 regular players and 1 on-call player, but one of our regulars is not able to make it today. So the on-call player is coming in and kind of joining in the middle. So I don't know what that's going to be like. We're going to I know the player, he's great, and I know that it's going to be fun, but I don't know how that whole integration is going to happen yet. So we're going to figure out that. Last session, they began by facing a gray thirster and some zombies, and that turned out to be pretty hard. They took a bunch of damage. Oh yeah, so they fought the gray thirster. So they made their way over to the Pit of Unending Thirst, fought the Grey Thirster and a couple of zombies. A few of them got hit pretty hard. They spent some of their resources, and then as soon as they were done with the Grey Thirster, they're like, we need to go rest again. And it was like, you just got there. But I'm like, all right. So I kind of said, like, you don't know what else is going to wander in the city while you're going around. So then they made their way back. On the way back, they met a hill giant who had eaten a big cow thing that he had found, and he's chewing on this cow by holding it like a Hershey bar. And they talked with him a bit and managed, they certainly got away from a fight. I don't know if they managed to learn much. He was kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of different groups that are wandering around this place. You know, some of them are trouble, most of them leave me alone. So then they went back to the Priests of Hewn and they rested with the Priests of Hewn. The priests are like, you're back already? Like, we thought you'd be, what happened? You just left here like 2 hours ago. I'm like, yeah, we got to fight. We got to come back. So they're definitely on the 5-minute, that was definitely a 5-minute work. I don't know if it was a 5-minute work day. Like, it was mostly travel. And then like, it was like a 28-second work day. So then they kind of rested and recuperated and made their way back to the Pit of Unending Thirst. Luckily for them, nothing else had wandered by and decided to guard the front entrance of the Pit of Unending Thirst. And they made their way in. I'm going to pull up the map here. It's funny, my name for the map is Pit of Eternal Hunger. And I'm like, that's not quite right. So this is the map. This is the top view of the map. So there's a top view and a side view, and you can see that it's basically like a four layer place. So you have these upper ruins, then stairs that kind of lead down to this secondary area, and then a third and a fourth level. And they made it down the top one. They checked out these sepulchers down to the south, which was the tombs of the caretakers. Then they made their way to the west. They saw they witnessed a really, like, I don't remember what the name of the god was, but like a god of death, like an image of the god of death. And recognized that these pits of judgment are where people were thrown. They saw that there were great oozes coming out, so they quickly said, nah, let's leave. And they found the secret passageway going to the north. And when they broke through to the north, a bunch of other zombies had come out, and a specter. And I think that that's what we were going to do. They already just fought zombies, and I felt like it's a little weak fighting zombies again. And I was rolling randomly for like the kind of stuff they would roll, and they rolled zombies, and we were right at the end of the game, and I'm like, we'll do that. So the good news is I have some room to kind of make that a more interesting battle than it was before. So I have my secrets and clues, and we can figure out what... One thing I thought we'd do is go through the secrets and clues, see which ones they figured out, and then a lot of people go like, well, how did they actually discover that? So I'm going to try to remember how they discovered a particular secret and clue, so we can talk about how these things actually got picked out. Puzzle Box is said to be an artifact of Thoth Hermes, Lord of Knowledge and Learning, patron of scholars and thieves, master of arcane realms. They know that the shrine is the Shrine of Anuakma. I don't remember if they learned this one or not, so therefore I certainly don't remember. I don't remember how they would have learned it, because I don't remember that they learned it all. Temple of Thoth Hermes was used by scholars and sages of Kandaharians. So one thing is, like, I wonder if I switch this from Anuakma to Thoth Hermes. Yeah, because in this whole thing I have the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. Well, no, the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes is in another place. So that's right. So there's two different temples, the Shrine to Anuakma and the Temple of Thoth Hermes. They haven't been to the Temple of Thoth Hermes yet. So I don't think they've learned this. Beneath the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes is a red portal missing a key. They did learn that. And I think they learned this by... I think they learned it from the priests of Hune. That the priests of Hune told them, yeah, there's a portal down there, and we were worried that the key might open the portal, and we don't think opening portals we are the priests of portals, but we don't think opening portals is a good idea. We don't really like that. I don't think they learned that the puzzle box is in two parts, one part held by the goblin, the other part lying in the pit of unending thirst. The Sanguine Path seeks the puzzle box to unbind this demon so it can serve them, because there's a demon bound in there. I don't think they know about that. They quickly picked up on the fact that the puzzle box is like a Hellraiser puzzle box, so the idea that it's has a demon connected to it, that is not going to be a big surprise, because they've already figured out the inspiration that it came from. Sanguine Path was hired by agents of Ibelin. I don't think they picked that up yet. Thoth Hermes, a god of knowledge and learning. So this they did learn, and they learned it by doing religion checks on various statues and things that they saw. Lord of Unending Thirst was worshipped by Kandaharians. They did not figure this part out. And actually, there's kind of another secret that's there. The other priests feel that Athelia's work to unlock the red portal is sacrilegious. They did learn that, and they learned that directly from the priests of Hune, who said, like, portal magic, that's just low class. So those secrets, a lot of these secrets I can reuse. In fact, probably a lot of the stuff from the past notes I can reuse. But we're going to go ahead and make new session notes anyway. New from template. I need my Dragon Empire template. And so who is not there? Mateo, I think, is not there. Amavin, Rowan, everyone else is there. And then I have a new character showing up today that we'll figure out. So we have Battle of Dehydrated Skeleton, or Dehydrated Zombies and Specters. And I think the zombies... So here's an interesting thing about zombies and skeletons that I think kind of matters, and introducing a new character. So here's a tip that that I think is kind of useful. When we think about skeletons and zombies, one of the ways that I think differently about skeletons and zombies is that zombies represent people who died relatively recently, where skeletons represent people who died a long time ago. You could certainly have skeletons of recent dead, but I think it makes more sense so that whenever you, and a way we talk about like this, how do you reveal secrets and clues? Well, a good way to reveal a secret and clue is when you throw a zombie in there. Who was the zombie previously? And what can they learn from the zombies? And so there are a couple different kinds of zombies that could be wandering around in this ruined shrine of Anuakma, i.e. the pit of unending thirst. And that could be freelance explorers, people who just came here. It could be members of, or thralls of the Sanguine Path, or even members of the Sanguine Path who died here and then were reanimated as zombies. It could be the conscripted prisoners of the gnolls, the black venom gnolls, who they sent in here. So they could, one of the neat things is you have some texture to the zombies, right? The zombies have texture to them. The texture is who were they previously? And the idea is they probably died relatively recently. Like you would think that after a few months, like if you're animating undead, this is the way I think about it. I don't know if this is canon, but if you think about undead, once a zombie has been around for a year, they probably are a skeleton, right? And they might still be a skeleton. There's probably other little aspects of the lore that kind of separates out skeletons from zombies. But for me, a big one is, are they recent or not? So I am going to drop in those secrets and clues. We're going to come back to that. Scene-wise, the kind of the big beats that are going on here. And again, Yeah, so let's. I'm skipping stuff. So let's go back to our characters and put them in our minds. So we have Amavin. Amavin is, and I'm going to try to see how much I can do with this from memory without looking at my my PC cheat sheet. Amavin is a rogue former spy. Ah, yes, and we're going to have nose. It was a thing about one of the gods, right? That one of the Morza, and it was Ibelin. It was the unseen, and not it. I think Ibelin the Illustrious is one of them. But the Burning Sands, Parsis the Hidden. Yeah, so we're gonna have like a little character secret. So Amavin's little background that we're gonna drop in is that Amavin knows Parsis the Hidden's spy-like ways. So this is almost like a built-in character secret, right? It's a secret that I'm dropping in, connects the character to the story that's going on. Gaudenzia probably recognizes. So Gaudenzia had worked with the Dragon Empire before, probably with Ibelin the Illustrious. Ibelin's coins with dead Sanguine Path. And that can kind of connect the Sanguine Path to Ibelin the Illustrious, who hired them to go recover stuff. I think, is that the way we did that? Or was it the other one? Yeah. Sanguine Path was hired by agents of Ibelin the Illustrious, who seeks necromantic power. So that could be a note that could be found on a dead zombie of one of the dead zombies of the Sanguine Path could have a note that's from agents of Ibelin saying, we need you to find any necromantic stuff. We'll pay triple the normal rate. So they can learn that the Sanguine Path has actually been hired by Ibelin the Illustrious. I think that's cool. Cal. So Cal is a former winery druid type who's down on their luck. And so Cal could probably recognizes the unholy nature of this pit and its connection to, and we have the Lord of Unending Thirst, an undead deity of the Southlands, who's actually Vardazane. And it's a mask of Vardazane. Kind of a juicy secret. We have Rowan. Rowan is a dwarf fighter who left the front lines of the North. Their family kind of sent them down here. He's been thinking a lot. He's kind of homesick for going back to the mines and everything like that. Or not back to the mines, back to the forge, where he was most comfortable just hanging out with his uncle and forging stuff instead of kind of getting involved in all this stuff. What would Rowan recognize? What would be a good clue that Rowan could pick up down here in the Pit of Unending Thirst? Oh, the construct of the puzzle box is beyond the capabilities of any known smithy or jeweler. So like this thing, and it's probably very old, right? Very, very old. That's cool. Tolstoy is a wizard who definitely wants to deconstruct the Dragon Empire's reign, definitely wants to tear down the Dragon Empire's rulership. What could Tolstoy... So Tolstoy, being a wizard and being trained in arcane ways, could kind of touch upon, probably can recognize, or we'll just say recognizes, the various deities and their power in this place. That's a terrible sentence. So basically can see that there's a bunch of turmoil, can feel recognizes the turmoil of so many gods in one place, gods worshipped in one place. One question I have, let's drop over to the Midgard book real quick and look at the ley lines. There is a picture of the ley lines in here. And one of the neat things, actually, we can go to the maps. Midgard Maps has it too. Midgardmaps.koboldpress.com is a great Midgard fun tool. And we are way down here. And my question is there a ley line? There is. So there is a ley line that goes right through Kukutarma. So that actually would be a great secret. And what ley line is that? I think for that one, we're going to have to go to the map. So we've got a Midgard in the Midgard book. I actually, here's a tip. If you have an old version of the Midgard world book like I did, they've reprinted. There's now a second printing, and the second printing is on way better paper. So yeah, like you're paying another $50 or whatever, and I did. But I got a new copy of the Midgard world book, and it's nice, slick paper with much deeper, richer color for the art. And I'm very happy to have that. So I knew it would be. So it's called the Angel's Road. No, is that right? I think this is the ley line. Yeah. So Dragon's Coil is north of here, but there is another. Yeah, there is a ley line traveling through, or I guess it's not a ley line, it's a shadow road, right? Are these ley lines or shadow roads? I think they're ley lines. Known as the Angel's Road that travels right through here. So that's something we can drop into our notes. We're going to change this whole thing, right? Feels the power of the ley line traveling through Kukatarma. All right, so I've got character spaced secrets, right? Those are kind of cool. And I've got my scenes. So the main scenes are intro of new character. I have no idea. I don't know anything about the character. And fighting sanguine zombies and old specters. That's kind of our big intro fight. Starting with a fight is always a fun way to go. And then continuing their exploration, right, of the Pit of Unending Thirst. Then they're going to meet the gnome, whose name I always forget. I think I can open up multiple tabs here. Yeah, look at that. So that way I can have my old notes next to my new notes. I'm learning things about Obsidian. Look at me. I have some new names in the old ones. Yeah, Priestess Belith Bronstar was the voice of Set and Executioner. She is now dead, but I think I'm going to put her in my NPCs because you never know if she's going to come up. That was made up on the spot. Nemes. Oh, yeah, Nemes. We were talking about the Egyptian-style crowns are called Nemes. And then we have Estrold Vale, Mechanist of Thoth Hermes, and Candahiria, Estreled Vale, who probably helped build this place. So I think, that there was a mechanist who kind of built components of this place. I think that would be kind of an interesting thing, and we'll put that into our notable NPC section. But the other one, the NPC that I need to remember, is Sister Athelia. Let's see. Let's look at these other ones. Yeah, so 3 of these 4 NPCs I want. I don't think I need Decima Wildflower. And Vincent Blackspell is probably not going to come up, but I'll keep him on my notes. Vincent Blackspell is a dwarven, he's kind of the commander of the Sanguine Path. And that was because I wanted to have some like other, and maybe he's the one that's, I don't know if they're going to run into Sanguine Path folk here or not. So maybe he might not be the leader of the Sanguine Path here, but he'll be around. One other thing I can steal from last week's notes is I had my little random monster table section, and I can put that in here as well. Some other monsters that are going to come up. A Chain Devil is going to be in here. The Chain Devil is on page 97 of the Monster Vault. But God, they're hosed if they fight it. That's not going to, the Chain Devil is not going to. But I think there should be some other kind of infernally sort of creatures here. Let's pop over to the Monster Vault. And let's look for lower CR devils that might be running. So bearded devils could be here. So we could have, are there any boring ones in here? We're probably going to remove zombies because they've already faced a lot of these. So I'm going to change these to bearded devils. And they are heralds, bearded devil heralds of Mott. So the Lazy Encounter benchmark, we're probably going to have 6 level 3 characters today. So I think that's a Lazy Encounter benchmark of 4, right? 6 times 3 is 18, divided by 4 is about 4. So LEB 4 is about right. Then, that's right. I was replacing the, I'm on the wrong one. I was replacing, so my Lazy Encounter benchmark is 4. We determined that. That means if I have more than 4 CRs worth of monster in a single battle, the battle could be potentially dangerous. And I have Bearded Devil Heralds of Mott. The Bearded Devils are on page 95. We have more potential Grey Thirsters. I wouldn't mind having like Grey Thirsters happen again because those would be pretty cool. Specters of former Blood Mages. Are these specters of former Blood Mages or former priests of we can have former priests of Vardazane. That could be fun. Skeletal guardians of the temple. Great oozes forming from the remains, the liquefied remains. That's nice. Wounded explorers of black venom. Blood shadows of the sanguine path. So we've got that. I like that, the idea of bearded devils. Are there other devils? Are there other devils wandering around? Are there devils that are lower than CR3? I don't know if there are. I love that Aaron Yee's picture. Aaron Yee's looks really cool. Imps, right? So we could have some imps. Oh, and lemurs. Lemurs would be good. So we could have lemur converts of former cultists. So like there were cultists that would have been worshiping down here, but the twisted magic of the place turned them into lemurs. I think that could be kind of cool. Are there any of these that are boring that I want to pull off? I mean, these are all okay. We could have imps, right? Shifty imps of Mott. Who is Mott? So I think if we go to the Southlands books, is there a Mott? Was there a god named Mott? Oh, I made a new sheet and I printed it out and it works really well. I have my factions sheet, and I bet you I have Mott on here. Maybe I don't. Did I make Mott up? I don't think I made Mott up. God of eternal death, Lord of undeath, Death of fire, Black Emperor of Silent Mary, Prince of Necromancers, and High Potentiate of Dragon Slayer. Ooh, High Potentate of Dragon Slayers. That's sweet. What if the devils are on your side? Ooh, put that in my secrets. I keep putting in the wrong one. So that's cool. So going back to the top, scenes are find not Belith Bronstar, Sister Athelia in the Chamber of Mott. And then kind of like exit the dungeon. So I think like that, the main arc of this particular session, the main arc of the session is that we have this intro fight, then they continue to explore the location, eventually getting down to the bottom final chamber. And in that final chamber is where Sister Athelia is trying to connect the puzzle. She's probably in trouble, getting attacked by stuff, and maybe being harried by a couple of bearded devils. And the characters kind of come in and they can kind of rescue her from this and recover the puzzle box. And that is and then the goal is to take the puzzle box over to the Temple of Thoth Hermes and use it to open up a red portal, and then they have a portal that they can connect to other places. So that would be pretty neat. So I think the location wise, now we have a kind of a better idea of where they are really going. And I think that one section there that I have not filled out could be like a preparation chamber where they have all the kinds of devices to remove the innards of mummies and things like that. But I don't know. Well, I'll write preparation, evisceration materials. At this point, they're probably going to go down that, or go up those stairs to go down to the lower level. One neat thing about this dungeon is it's got lots of different levels and layers to it. So they go down the stairs, and down in this main hall, I wrote the Doors of Hunger. So the Doors of Hunger probably have a visage of Vardazane on it. Then beyond the Doors of Hunger and into that is probably like a throne room of the Priest of Hunger and the Halls of Screams I got. Then they go, okay, so this whole level is not actually connected to the Great Drop. That's right. You go all the way through here and you go to the Great Drop. There's all these other little chambers down here on level 2. What would be, so L2 chambers, and what would these be? So I wrote Urns of the Unsated. What does that say? I wrote it with a Sharpie. Urns of Sated. So some of these are urns of the Unsated would be one room. The drying room could be another where they desiccate corpses. Cells of the Damned. It was that one with the portcullis on there. Filled with probably filled with skeletons that are reaching through trying to escape from this place and can't. And so that we could have a small preparation library. Do we have a library? I think we have we have libraries down here already. So that level, the one that's right above the level 2, I need something for that place. So this section of it, they have sort of the urns of those of followers who had done well and then were dried out and turned into dust and then put into urns and then set in this holy place, unholy place, whatever it is. We have the chamber where they would dry out bodies and put them, get them ready for that. We have the prison where they kept prisoners that they wanted to do terrible things to. And we have this other chamber that's got two little altars on the side. What would that chamber be? What that kind of relates to these other things? I don't know. It's still kind of, both shrine-like and tomb-like with what they would have. Let me, for fun, we will just see if I can get some fun random stuff by going to my, we'll look for the Thingonomicon. So they have a Fane of Good. Let's see, we want to sort these by name. Ancient Necropolis. Mural depicts idealized external view of the necropolis being approached by a long column of people. It has been defaced. I kind of like that one. That's fun. So we have like idealistic murals that kind of show the temple, show how this temple was used. I don't need to put that, but yeah, idealistic murals. So that's that chamber, that series of chambers. Then we have this set of staircases that go down the pit as well. And those stairs end up here. They can either drop down the pit or kind of go over the top of it and into what is, this big final chamber. And so one thing is like, do we want to move the MacGuffin around so they have to explore this whole place, or is it more fun for them to decide what they want to see? So they go down here. We'll have a small altar, L3 chambers. I need to say the word chambers, we know what I mean. And here we have like a altar of sacrifice in here. We have the black pit at the bottom. These small rooms are kind of tricky. I got these like little small rooms and alcoves, and they have like, we could have a small treasury, right? We have a lesser library and the scriptorium and an artifact vault and the greater library, right? So we have these libraries where they kept their goods. And then we have the tomb of the high priests. And the tomb of the high priests is where they are keeping, where the second piece of the puzzle box remains. And yeah, I'm trying to think about like what happens in this place. So they could go in here and Sister Athelia could be being attacked by skeletons who have animated from these various sarcophagi. There could be a whole bunch of these skeletons that are all dressed in like holy robes and stuff like that, and they're attacking her. And she's fighting them back. And she's like, I'm trying to get to the other puzzle cube, which is in that central sarcophagus up above. And, and the characters do it. And then when they touch it is when like out of the shadows step like a couple of these bearded devils, right? And they're like, we are heralds of... we are heralds of and do we have a name for Cattell? Cattell of Mott, who's the chain devil bound by the puzzle cube. And as heralds of Cattell, they sort of demand that the puzzle cube be solved so that Cattell can be brought into this world. Cattell being this chained devil right out of Hellraiser. And I think an interesting idea is that Mott is known as the high potentate. What is a potentate? I gotta go look that up. I don't know what that word means. A ruler who is unconstrained by law. High potentate of dragon slayers. So that means they can like ally with devils in order to fight the dragons. That could be cool. We'll see how that goes. Is the enemy of my enemy my friend? I don't know. So that works. So that's probably where the bearded devils are gonna come from. Heralds of Cattell. And we're going to pull them off the random list because we're not going to have them show up on the random list. And then we'll get rid of the shifty imps. Oh, we could have a shifty imp. Now we'll just get rid of it. Now my numbers got mixed up. There we go. Treasure. I think I can take the treasure straight from last session's notes because I don't think they really picked up this. I love this like abyssal ring that cast imprisonment once. These are all good things. These are all fun bits of treasure. There's probably also tomes of necromantic power that are down here. The Midgard book has some, if we go back to our Midgard world book here, I think there are spells in the Midgard world book that we might, so there's red portal spells, life drain. What level is this? Level 6. With a snarling word of void speech, you create a swirling vortex of purple energy, 1d6 per damage per 2 caster levels. That's interesting. This is like, is this a Pathfinder? It feels like a Pathfinder spell. No, it's got all the same general stats. You gain temporary points equal to damage dealt by the vortex to a single creature of your choosing. Let's see. I don't know how many people you can target. A 10-foot high ringed wall of purple energy with a 10-foot radius. So you can kind of hit people in that. So there's a life drain. So let's see. A necromantic books of life drain, 457. And what other kind of fun spells? Living Shadows. I think Living Shadows would be a version of Spirit Guardians. I'm going to change these spells a bit because these spells, the spell design on these are kind of weird. Glimpse of the Void. Bloody Hands. I don't know. We'll see. Friends, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back in a few minutes and we will finish up our prep. Be right back. I am back. So I think, let's take a quick look here, but I think we're all set. I got a pile of secrets. I got giant piles of secrets to explore today. I've got my strong start and how that's going to go. I've got my general scenes and some thoughts about how that's going to happen. I got big piles of secrets and clues. I got a little bit more detailed descriptions of like the specific rooms that are down here. I listed out my NPCs and I've got some monsters and I've got my treasure. So I think I am all set today. So I'm going to print out a copy of this, export to PDF. We will try this and see how it goes. Try to get it on one page. Oh, it's not quite one page. So I need to cut things. Ooh, treasure is on a whole separate page. Oh, you know why? My margins are, I have my margins set too wide. Let's try changing the margins. Lately, my stuff has been hard to fit on one page because I have too much. I put too much in my notes. There, that fits perfectly. That's exactly one page. So I'll print that out. If you want to see what my notes look like, that is what my notes look like for today's game. So I print that on a sheet of paper, take it off to my game, and I am all set. One of my little tricks to like get things to fit on one page is I look for little hanging things like this. You know, other priests feel that I actually don't need that secret. I didn't even go through the secrets today. Now I think about it. I just pasted last week's secrets and threw them in there. But that secret I actually don't need. But it all fits. It all works out. It's all what's going on. So we're all set today. Friends, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while I prepared for my Sunday role-playing game. If you enjoyed this show and you want to see more stuff like this, the best way to do so is to subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. There is a link in the show notes. It is absolutely free to sign up. You can find the link to sign up on slyflourish.com as well. You get a free adventure generator and a free miniature version of 5e that you can use to run games with your friends just for signing up, absolutely free. And you get a weekly RPG-related article sent directly to your inbox every week, including all of the links to all of the work that I do on all different platforms as well. So you get all the stuff that I do. Best way to stay in touch with me and what I do is through the Sly Flourish newsletter. You can also become a patron of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to the awesome Lazy GM community over on Discord. They help me put on shows like this, and you get access to all kinds of cool stuff. Lately, I've been doing a bunch of scenarios for the Key of Worlds arc of the campaign arc that's inside City of Arches. I think I'm up to 5 or 6. I've got a bunch of those written out, and so it's a fun way to kind of fill out further information, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of all the stuff that you get by becoming a patron of Sly Flourish. So check out the Sly Flourish Patreon, and of course you can pick up my books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, Lazy DM's Workbook, Lazy DM's Companion, Forge of Foes, and more at the Sly Flourish bookstore. Links for the bookstore are in the show notes as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play an RPG.